Hello and welcome back to episode 7 of Ekko 2 at 100, where I try to prove to you guys that you can master any champion within 100 games, starting with Ekko, obviously, if you couldn't tell by the past 6 episodes. So this episode, I think we're sticking with the tank Ekko build. It worked really well last game, and I wanted to make sure that it wasn't a fluke. It felt good, and I just wanted to confirm my theory that it was going to be good, sort of ongoing. I think the Lichbane build still has a place with Ekko, but in standard gameplay, I think that this tank build is better. So unfortunately, we lose our flash here and we don't get the stun off. I was quite ambitious about that, I think, hoping for a similar play to episode 1. If you can't remember what that is, go back and watch the cold opener. So runes-wise, we've stuck with Dark Harvest. It was an accident last game. I think it worked quite well. You get them down to 50%. The Dark Harvest procs, which then gets them to 30% health faster, allowing you to use your W passive more effectively. We then have Sudden Impact, classic, Eyeball Collection again, Treasure Hunter again. And we've actually strayed away from inspiration. Ironically, I was inspired by the precision tree. And we've gone for Legend, Tenacity, and we've gone for Triumph as well. And I'll update you on the statistics as they go through and sort of show you how much damage they're doing and why I've changed to it. Tenacity is brilliant on Ekko. As soon as he hits 6, the last thing you want is to be CC'd on low health and not be able to use your ult to get out. We've spoken about it in previous episodes. Last episode, I think, specifically was the Renekton stunned us under tower and we weren't able to ult out. If we had Legend Tenacity and also Triumph, it could work really well. So we have a Vayne into a Cho'Gath top lane. Now, that is a horrible matchup if you're alone. Luckily, I know the counter to it, which is ganks. Gank. So we go down quite low here. We get the ignite out of her. Cho'Gath manages to get the kill, and I managed to survive straight away because of Triumph. I was still burning at the time. I did have a little bit of a shield, but the Triumph is what saved me there. So 100% go right out of the gates. I think that Triumph was the right pick here. Otherwise, this game could have gone completely different. So currently we've only done 2 camps. I think that the Lee Sin would probably start on his bot side jungle, probably go buff wolves, red buff wolves, blue buff Gromp. So I imagine he's top side now. I think I do ping out the Cho'Gath just to make sure he knows, but he is currently ahead of farm on me. I want to stay as far away from this Lee Sin as possible early game. Once we get into level 6 territory, mid game territory, late game territory, I think that we'll be able to 1v1 him. But until then, play safe, make sure to keep farming. I think actually I do go for quite a heavy ganking game, and the Lee Sin goes into the top lane here after it looks like he's been into my jungle. If you look at his CS, if he did go buff wolves, buff Gromp, maybe he hasn't taken any of my farm. Looking at this point, no, he hasn't. He's about to take my wolves now. So there we go, going for the invade. He hasn't got the Scuttle Crab yet. I think whilst I was playing the game, I assumed he had taken the Scuttle Crab, which is why he had 16 CS. If you don't know, each jungle camp CS is worth 4 CS. So as soon as you see them, the jungler on the map, you know pretty much what CS he's taken. They've taken, I should say. So I want to see if I can get the Dark Harvest proc off on the Ashe and make her back out. We do half health her. I think maybe it would have been one more auto attack to get the Dark Harvest proc off there. Unfortunately, we don't get it. Actually, let me get the runes up for you now so that you can see them. I don't know where they went. So we eat up this bottom Scuttle Crab and we'll go for our wolves here. Potentially look for another gank after that. The assist that we got up in top lane and the early back allowed us to get a extremely early Dark Seal. Something that I love doing. Because if it goes well, it goes really well. And in this game, it goes really... No, spoiler alert, it goes pretty well. So we move up here towards my chickens. I still think they're up. We obviously know that the Lee Sin has taken these. And I want to hit this scrying plant to see if he has taken Scuttle, which I can see he hasn't. I don't really understand why he hasn't. But we actually get both Scuttle Crabs. So we lose out on chickens, yes, but you actually get more value out of the Scuttle Crabs in the early game. So it's really good that we managed to get both of them. I think you get more value. I think you get more XP at least. I can see the Ziggs here. I don't think I'll be able to kill him. He's on full health. He is on 0 mana, so I just want to do some poke. Unfortunately, it looks like they've warded there, and I ping that out for the action. So yeah, the action's into the Ziggs. We're obviously into the Lee Sin, and it is a Draven Ashe on the other team versus our Tristana and Nami. With a Draven with a kill already, unfortunately. So if we can make it to the late game here with the action, with me, with the Cho'Gath who scales infinitely, and the Tristana against the Draven, then I think we win. Unfortunately, the bot lane goes down again to the Draven, and Draven's starting to look a little bit more worrying. I think I should have moved way earlier than this to help out the Cho'Gath. They had been fighting for quite a while, and I looked like I was just focusing on maybe focusing on bot lane, seeing how they were doing, seeing how the Draven played and his movements, and that way you can sort of get a tell with how you want to use your ability combo. You know, if you E in first and then Q, you can get the Q slow off him and potentially helps you get the third stack. Or if I want to Q from a distance and slow him that way, and then put my W down. So he's currently 3 kills up, with our ADC having died twice. We have a winning top lane at the moment. Brilliant, that's great. I didn't even have... So if you didn't see it there, I think that after the Vayne managed to get away, she flashed over the wall. She went straight back up top lane on half health, and the Cho'Gath just instantly managed to get a jump on her, which is fantastic. Good job, Cho'Gath. The last thing you want is a fed ADC in top lane. Especially if she does % health damage against someone who's meant to be extremely tanky. In fact, the only tank on the team. So we're back there. We managed to start building towards our Nash's Tooth. So it's the same build path as last game. You build the Nash's Tooth, Dark Seal somewhere in there as well. We'll continue going Mercury Treads. Again, we want that extra tenacity, especially with our Legend tenacity. We want those to stack on top of each other as much as possible. And then we also get the Blasting Wand and the Dagger. Oh, sorry, we're talking about build, weren't we, rather than what I built. So we've got the Blasting Wand and the Dagger to build towards the Nash's Tooth. Dark Seal in there, Boots in there. Then we go for the Turbo Chem Tank. Help with our clear, help with our speed, help with our tankiness. Which will be perfect. And then from there, you can sort of build in what you want. Potentially go for a stopwatch if you think you're going to be burst down. This game, I believe I do. And then after that, you can potentially build even more tank items, or you can go for magic penetration, depending on whether they're building any magic resistance. So continue with the full clear here. I can see that the Ashe is a little bit cut off, and I can see that my bot lane are going up for it. So I come down for it. Fortunately, if the Tristana had moved slightly around here, I think that we could have really cut off this Ashe. Unfortunately, they both managed to get away. And I clear out the control ward, just for good measure. The action also starts moving down as well. So, I mean, you can see already now that they have 6. So the Tristana actually has 6 before the Draven. So the Tristana's been dying, but obviously the Draven has been prioritizing auto attacks on the ADC rather than his farm. So that's sort of what you want to do in an early game matchup. So something like a Draven early game, or potentially a Kalista as well. They're going to want to poke you out as much as they can. If you can stay safe and keep farming, that's how you get ahead later. And you'll see by the end of this game, this Tristana does. I think she's most damage in the game by the end of it. And credit to the Nami as well, where it's due. She just plays very well as well, finishes with quite a high bounty. I'll stop trying to spoil the rest of the game for you. Anyway, Ziggs decides to move. They don't have a ward in here because they've got a control ward, so she must have just had a really lucky guess. We managed to get a pick on the Ashe, which is perfect. See if we can get the Ziggs as well. The Ziggs manages to ult the Nami out, which is quite unfortunate. I think I should have gone on the Draven here. In the end, with my ult, perfectly done. I think if we hadn't had ult there, this Tristana was probably dead to the Draven, and the Draven would have gotten away. So it was really lucky that I managed to pull the ult out in that fight, and we get that triple kill in bot lane. Or, you know, 1 kill for me, 2 for the Tristana. It's better for the Tristana at this point because the Draven is more fed. Meanwhile, in top lane, the the Cho'Gath manages to outsmite the Lee Sin to get the Scuttle Crab, which is insane. And actually, if we have a look back at that, which we can do, here we go, and speed this up a little bit, so we can see that they're doing it. The Cho'Gath comes down. He notice he doesn't have ult, so he doesn't even ult it away. The Lee Sin obviously used. He panic smited, and the Cho'Gath managed to get it with a silence, which is, you know, I really enjoy playing with this guy. Very good. He does go down to it, unfortunately, but he manages to steal the Herald, and you know, he dies. He doesn't lose. He doesn't have a bounty at the moment, and you'll see in a second that that Herald play was worth it. So anyway, getting back to the bot lane play. So the bot lane play is just finished. The Ashes have just managed to come back to lane, as has the Draven. I want to back. Currently have 4 stacks of the Dark Seal and a full Nash's Tooth built at 10 minutes 40, which is about what you want. So we currently have all, as well, we think we have all of our camps up. We've been bot side for a while, so the Lee Sin could have been, after the Herald, he potentially could have gone into my top side jungle, so we'll go and see that now. I do think that he would have taken these, and I was quite surprised that he didn't. The reason that I'm going to top lane is I want to shadow this Cho'Gath. If we get a kill on the Vayne, the Cho'Gath currently has the Herald, which means that we potentially get a tower or 2 with full plates. So that's the play I want. So we want to get this Vayne as soon as possible. He's already done some damage, engaged her, baited her a little bit. She doesn't have either summon or spell up. The Cho'Gath gets the ignite off as he's got some unsealed spellbook. He manages to kite and zone the Vayne right into my W, where we get the stun and the kill. Amazing. We get another kill. We get another Dark Harvest proc. We get 2 more Dark Seal stacks. And as we wanted, we also get the Herald in top lane to get all 5 of these plates with the Cho'Gath. That play could not have gone any better. Just perfect play. Cho'Gath is playing very well. I like playing around him. It's a good combo. Lee Sin is bot side taking the dragon, unfortunately. That's fine. He's got the second dragon, so we do want to start contesting these dragons, start playing around them. If he gets the next dragon, then the next dragon for them will be Dragon Soul. And we don't want them to have Dragon Soul. Not at all. That's one of our win conditions, Dragon Soul. But losing this dragon doesn't mean much. We've managed to get the whole of the top tower. We managed to get a second charge here as well to get that half health, and we managed to get the entire top side jungle as well, which is such a good trade. Not only that, but we see the Ziggs. I don't know if he's mad at his team or something, but he's very pushed up here. I think he's doing quite well against the Akshan, even though he's not killed it. I think he's been pushing him off the wave, and you can see by the farm. The Ziggs is doing very well against the Akshan, even though he hasn't got a kill. Gets quite cocky. Doesn't seem to notice that we've managed to rip into the tower up ahead. Not tracking my positioning, and we managed to get that. I think it's a 50 gold shutdown on him or something like that, just from the CS lead, which is perfect. I thought Cho'Gath was going for Rift Herald there, but it's not up yet. Let's continue the ward. At which point we get a kill on the Vayne. We got all of the top jungle. We got the tower. We got the Ziggs. Let's go back and do some of our farm. You know, we want to push our lead as far as possible, and then back and start building into the Turbo Kent tank. For some reason, that name always eludes my mind. Always, every time. So we get the Krugs. We shadow the top lane a little bit. I can see the Cho'Gath's backing. The Vayne, I don't think would be that far pushed up now, especially since we've been ganking her lane. So we back, and I think here we can get Mercury Treads, and we can also get Balmy Cinders. So let's have a look. There's Mercury Treads. Wait a little bit. And there's Balmy Cinder. Perfect. That really helps out clear. You know, every small tick of damage helps against your camps, and that way you can get right back onto the map. So my bot lane did find the Lee Sin in my bot jungle, so I know he's here somewhere. He smites away the blue buff from me, tries to use the portal, obviously not quite sure how it works. even with, how much tenacity do I have at the moment? Even with 51% tenacity, I think that Ash arrow still stunned me for 2 seconds, which is just ridiculous. But we managed to get the Lee Sin regardless and stay alive. Here, we're going for the bot lane. And this is what I mean by this build. So we are far ahead. We're 404, right? But the reason that we've managed to get that far ahead is, number one, we've had some good ganks, we've had some good pathing, we've kept ahead even when the Lee Sin knows where we are. We got the early Dark Seal, that's a big part of it, and the runes as well. The runes help you get ahead as fast as possible. You know, you've got the Treasure Hunter, you've got the extra 20 gold that you get for a kill on Triumph as well, really helps. Currently giving us 180 gold. And, you know, if you look at the Lee Sin's items, we are almost 2 items ahead of him. Which is incredible, because we've spent most of the game on the map rather than farming our jungle. And we're still ahead on CS than him. So anyway, we're back now. We managed to get a few kills there. I think we've got 1 on the Lee Sin and potentially 2 on the bot lane. So we'll have our full turbo chem tank, and there you see it. So we're currently moving at... okay, no, we don't have Majai's yet. So I was going to say, I was confused why I was only moving at 385 movement speed, which you can see down here. But that's only because boost is being contributed. As soon as we buy our Majai's, which again, spoiler alert, we do. If you have 10 stacks or above on Majai's, you get an extra 10% movement speed, which is incredible. And you know, that's the well, along with the AP, the core value of the Majai's item, and also the risk for it, because if you spend the 1,500 gold on it, roughly, then you know you want everything you have, and if you lose all of your stacks, then you just wasted 1,500 worth of gold. So anyway, they think that they can contest the Herald here. Unfortunately, they overstep. They might not realise how fed I am now, and they're probably heckling their Lee Sin as much as possible. Who actually does get a double kill. He manages to get in the back line behind me and get a double kill. We managed to get a double kill as well, and we want to 2v1 this from the looks of it. We ult. It looks like the Vayne is just doing Vayne things. And the Ekko is doing Ekko. And the Triumph. That's what I mean. The Triumph is incredible. I mean, it's already healed us for almost 1,000 health. 1,000 health for Triumph. Which is insane value for a rune at 17.5 minutes in the game. So the Ashe obviously decided she doesn't like me, and we get ulted in base. Yeah, no, it is what it is. It means that she won't have it for the next, what's the cooldown, like 10 seconds? You can tell I'm slightly bitter about that challenge. If I'm in bot lane, it's a perma ban for me. Perma gank. Yeah, maybe I should. Next game, there's an Ashe in bot lane. I'll promise I'll perma gank. Unfortunately for the Ziggs here, who's trying to use the Hextech gates, we see that he is trying to use the Hextech gates, and I think Nami gets a little bit spooked and auto attacks and takes the kill. But like I say, always give at least 1 kill to your support. They deserve it. Especially this Nami as well. Doing a very good job. Well, both bot lane are doing a very good job. Number 1, not tilting when the Draven had 3 kills, staying in the game, staying with it, and even past that, bringing themselves back from it. So we got first Herald, the sacrifice for a dragon. The Lee Sin also managed to get the early game dragon because Lee Sin can do that. Echoes can't really contest. Lee Sin comes in, tries to come in for a steal. Unfortunately, it doesn't quite work out. We ult to get that extra damage off. And I think we roll over the wall. Turbo chem tank speed up. Super helpful. Just for situations like that. Just when they're just outside of your range. Really, really helpful little catch-up mechanic if you can't. Just to secure that final stack of your passive, and you can get that more sustained. Was that about perma-ganking Ashe? Yeah, so you can just get that more sustained movement speed with your passive. So again, they overstep and they die for it. We now have our Majais at 20 stacks, so we're getting that movement speed, currently moving at, and this is just all the time, moving at 422 movement speed, which is insane. Like, for instance, if we look at the Lee Sin, which we can't, give me one moment. If we look at the Lee Sin, he is currently moving at 400. Which is actually slightly more than I thought. He's obviously got a lot of base movement speed. So we, at 422, will be able to catch him in any fight, and that's even without using our active Turbo Chem tank, or our E, or our passive. So we are currently very sticky, very tanky, and we also have a significant amount of AP and burst damage. This build is insane, guys. Snack up the crab, and you know, at this point we can 1v1 the Lee Sin if we want to, so you know, his jungle is my jungle now. Like I said, the Lee Sin's here. Unfortunately, I panic a little bit and don't manage to get that over the wall like I intended to. We fight him off a little bit, use a couple of abilities to do so, and just take the rest of his farm. And that's fine. So you see me very pushed up here. The rest of my team is pinching the Draven in mid lane. Meanwhile, I'm trying to 2v1, trying to get a charge on the Herald, and unfortunately I don't manage to. I managed to just dodge out of that Ashe ult and fairly easily managed to get away. You know, if I had got hit by that Ashe ult, it would have been a very different story. I'd be CC'd by the Ashe, and then I would be straight CC'd by the Lee Sin kick, which you see there. And then the Ziggs as well, and you know, I could be quite easily burst down, especially since I'd already used my ult. And I'd already used my stopwatch as well. So they're all quite low. I know the Lee Sin had to back because we almost managed to burst him down with my passive. So with 4 members of the team here, I can see the Vayne on bot side killing the Cho'Gath. We can take Baron for free here. You know, it's a free 300 gold per team member, so that's 1,500 gold. And also you get the incredible pushing power of the Baron buff as well. Lee Sin just trying to see if he can get in there to steal it. Unfortunately, he is too late. So, that is Zhonya's built, and it looks like we waited a couple of seconds as well for that Amp Tome, because we all know that Amp Tome is going to make the difference. Ziggs managing to push in the mid lane tower, and with his W manages to execute towers, because that's about stability. So anyway, we see the Ziggs. We are currently moving at 422. I'll show you guys actually what's just easy kill. You know, there's just no way he's going to get away from that. I believe he was moving at something like movement speed 370, so we're almost moving with our turbo chem tank. We were moving about 150 movement speed more than him, and there's just no escape from that, even with his W. Ashe unfortunately flashes. I managed to latch my E on, and the burst is there. The burst is there. It's just so much more consistent than Lichbane because you don't get burst down yourself. And we get the ace with the Baron buff, and we start moving down mid lane. So yeah, please, guys, let me know what you're thinking of this build. Let me know if you think it's wrong, if you've tried it and it doesn't quite work, or even better if you try it and you think, oh, actually, this is the only way to play Ekko nowadays. You know, it just seems mathematically correct. Mathematically correct Ekko. You know, 12-0 and 6 is nothing to scoff at. You know, any champ that can do that fairly consistently. You know, in the last game I think we were 14-2. In this game, well, you'll see, but it doesn't go very much downhill from here. And even in the next game, which will also be a replay file game, and then we'll go back to some live games after that. But it's just the build is just so consistent, and with the slight tweaks of the precision tree runes from the inspiration tree runes, you know, although the magical footwear is nice for that extra bit of movement speed, it's only 10 movement speed, and the cosmic insight, yes, the cosmic insight is also very helpful, I just think in this scenario, the Legend Tenacity and the Triumph is... I mean, the Triumph has saved me probably more times this game than my ult has. And you know what? You always know when I'm pushing up like this. Something bad's gonna go down. This is where I start limit testing. I can see that all of my teammates are on the other side of the map. I know I can get this tower. Fortunately, the Ziggs and the Vayne aren't there as well. And I'm just like, yeah, you know what? I can 2v1 this fight. My ult saves me. I don't manage to get the stun on the Vayne. I use my Zhonya's. Oh, I thought I flashed there. I managed to get a kill, but then give 1,000 gold to the Ziggs. That is the one death this game. I have to have one because otherwise it's you know, it's all limit testing. It's all learning. So even though I did get a death and I didn't get a perfect game and I don't get to clickbait that on the YouTube title, I now know that even if I am 13-1, that Vayne is still a broken champion. And that's what I mean by the Tristana coming back into it. I mean, she did that probably in 3 auto attacks with her bomb and her ult. Fortunately, doesn't get the kill. Lee Sin, probably a bit tilted at this point. That maybe doesn't realize how much damage the Tristana can do. Practically wins, unfortunately. And at this point, my team is just too far ahead. I mean, if you look at the gold difference, oh, actually, they're not as far behind on the gold as I thought they were. I thought they were significantly further behind. But 1,000 gold again, nothing to scoff at. Actually, it's not 1,000 gold, is it? It's 10,000. Which definitely isn't anything to scoff at. 10,000 gold is an insane amount to be ahead on in this game. But anyway, we come back onto the map. We decide that blue buff's looking tasty. We want our level 16, so although we are now full build with this Void Staff, we don't really want to stop farming. We want level 16 and then 17 and 18 as fast as possible. In contrast, the Lee Sin is level 12. We're currently 4 levels ahead of the other jungler and 6 levels ahead of their support even. 6 levels ahead. The Riot recently, I think last year, introduced catch-up XP again. So if the average of your team's levels, if your level is lower than the average level of the enemy team, you'll get catch-up XP, which makes it very hard for any champion to be 2 levels below the average of the enemy team. And if you look at ours, we're level 14, 16, 14, 14 and 13. Our average is roughly 14. In fact, it's probably bang on 14, no, a little bit lower than 14. So her being level 10, you know, she should at least be level 12. But that's just how far ahead we're getting. So anyway, we clear all of Lee Sin's jungle, make sure that he can't snack up on any of that. Currently 70 CS ahead, and we are there also for when Baron spawns. And even though we don't have our Cho'Gath or our Tristana, you know, we do have the Nami, so she can heal and shield us and empower our auto attacks, and we also have the Akshan with Kraken Slayer, so we should be able to take the Void Kraken itself and get another load of that 1,300 gold and another push force. And this is my favorite play of this game. I love it. Again, well, I was gonna say I know her very well. She is my girlfriend, and I know that at this point she's just trolling. You know, we all left her with our movement abilities, and she didn't have one, and you know, it's just funny. So still just bursting those Ziggs down. Those Ziggs, that's English. And make our way to the dragon. I think we could probably end here. I think I probably just want 25 Majai stacks so that I can have a bit of a clickbait thumbnail here. But the Tristana and the Akshan are pushing in. They get the ace. We get the dragon nice and easily. At this point in the game, I can solo it. We get that inhib. I think I go bot lane and I want to just push that in. I always like doing that. I think if my team can get these inhibs, if I get the objectives here and push in this lane, then we have all 3 inhibs. I think that's just the more consistent way to win games. If you think I'm wrong, or think I need to be educated, please let me know, and I will give your methods a try. So, although we've sacrificed the damage on the E by building this build, our auto attacks just do an insane amount of damage, and it is just so lovely to watch. It just feels good as well. Like, if you go into a game and you try it, please let me know what you think, how it feels, how it compares to how you normally build Ekko, whether it's normally just the Rocket Belt and the Gnasher Tooth, or if you do build the Rocket Belt and the Lich Bane. Yeah, please let me know. I want to try out as many different builds as I can. I didn't think this build would work, but it has just worked so nicely. Okay, and looking at the damage graphs, you can see that we did the 3rd most damage in the game. The Vayne managed to get some free damage off on the Cho'Gath in top lane. Obviously, he has a bigger health bar. And the Tristana just managed to pull way ahead of the Draven, which is fantastic. And we ended up on 25,000 damage, which is still nothing to scoff at. Runes wise, we have 22 Dark Harvest Souls harvested. Dark Harvest Souls harvested, which I think is a record over the average of the series. No, not over the average of the series, over the whole entire series. I'll have those statistics on the screen for you now. 2017 damage done. Sudden impact, 833 damage done. We collected all 10 eyeballs to bring us up to 30 extra AP. We have all of our treasure hunter stacks. Our legend tenacity was completed at 12 minutes 50. I won't have those stats averaged or from last game because this is the first time we've actually run these runes. And Triumph coming out at 1.6k healed, incredible, and 440 gold given as well, which is also incredibly good, and it just helps you build your items as fast as you can. Anyway, if you've enjoyed today's game, please drop me a like and a comment, and even subscribe if you want to see the next episode, which is, I promise as well, almost another banger of a game. Anyway, I've been Smackjack, and I'll see you guys in the next one.